Welcome on behalf of SAIEN to this third webinar in the series of Meeting the Collaborating Centers. We will start today's presentation with Sri Aurobindo Study Circle, Melbourne, Australia. Each presentation will be about 10 minutes. And after each presentation, if anybody has anything to say, share, ask regarding that center, they are welcome to, within the time limit, overall time limit of 15 minutes, so that we are able to finish the 6 presentations in the given 90 minutes. So I invite Sri Aurobindo Study Circle, Melbourne, Australia, to begin.
Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Paramai. So just to give a little bit of introduction, there's not an official date, but we initiated the actual study circle on August 15, 2013. And I later came to know after a few years from Dr. Rajiv from Sydney that incidentally, the Sydney circle was also started on the same day, which is very big coincidence. And then after a few years, I came across a couple of devotees who have joined the study circle in Melbourne. And one of the devotees, Nushin, has been running a small study group, which is they celebrate Darshan days for last 25 years. So there are a few people who were running the study circles in the small groups before it actually got a bit more traction. So this photo is from the day we began in one of my friends' houses in Melbourne. This was basically the development over the few years, 8-9 years, wherein we created a meetup group. So just to give a background, when I initially came for doing my master's, I searched in Melbourne to see any centers or study circles, and I couldn't find, which was a bit ironical. Melbourne being one of the best cities to live in and doesn't have Sri Aurobindo Study Circle or Center, and it was very surprising. So we came together, few of us, and we initiated a meetup group, and few of the devotees joined. Then we had created a Facebook page. The link is given, and then we created a website which was launched on August 15, 2020. There are a few activities which our study circle does. We usually organize Darshan days, satsangs. Initially, when we had inceptions, we were just meeting on Darshan days, the main 4 ashram Darshan days. And last 3-4 years, we have been organizing regular monthly satsang between our members, probably one of the Sundays of month where we all get together. It doesn't have a proper kind of a solid place. So a couple of devotees would like to host satsang at their premises, and we rotate in different parts of Melbourne, east, west, etc. The basic schedule is we do start with invocation to the mother and mother's organ music and meditation. We do Om choir and chanting. We read passages and quotes by devotees. We had started just before the pandemic. I think it ran for a few months, wherein we started a Gita group, wherein we were reading essays on the Gita on a regular basis. And then we used to, I wouldn't say discuss, but at least explain to each other if we didn't understand. So it was kind of helping us to kind of get 0.1% of what Sri Aurobindo has written. We collectively read Savitri. Then we have bhajans, chanting, music. Many devotees, they offer bhajans, and we have few instruments which we offer to the mother and Sri Aurobindo. Then we have sharing of experiences, feedbacks, wherein devotees share their personal experiences of how their day-to-day life activities and how their offerings are to the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Then we have just a general get-together. I'll share a few pics. This was the satsang which we organized, the first one after the big lockdown we had for 2 years. I think Melbourne had one of the biggest lockdown in the world. So after 2 years, we met on November 24th for celebrating a satsang day. These are a few of the pics. So it has grown from initially 3, 4 to now around 15 to 20 devotees. So these are a few photographs from the latest satsang from the last year. We also have kids who come and participate. Of course, they have another playroom, but we do invite devotees of all ages. This is like a group photograph from last year. So as I said earlier, when we started, where we didn't have a solid premises. So this one is from one of my friend's house where we initially started in the east of Melbourne. So we have gatherings, small gatherings in their places as well. This is where I was renting before, and still it was a small place, but still devotees came with their full of love and heart to participate. We were also glad to get in touch with Nushin, who is a researcher and has and was running the study circle a couple of years way before we started. And this is at her place. This is on celebrating the 29th of February 2020. And as you can see over here, we have got Jitubai. Jitubai is from Ashram. He's a ex-Ashram student. So we were lucky to have him come over. We also, via some reference, we also met Norman Dowsett, Norman Bhai, who was also, he's an ex-Ashramite. He studied in the Ashram school. So we have got 2 Ashramites here in Melbourne. Yeah, these are just a few pics from Nushin's place where we celebrated Mother's birthday as well as the 29th February Darshan Day. We also organized talks by various devotees. In 2018, Melbourne and Sydney Study Circle collaborated together, and we invited Dr. Alok Pandey, which was hosted at one of my friend's place. It was like a 3-4 days satsang and talk schedule. These are a few pics from there. And we had over 20-25 attendees for almost every session. A few pics. Then during the lockdown, we collaborate. So Sydney and Melbourne's circles, we collaborated together to have online monthly satsang over Zoom every month, following the similar satsang schedule, where we had participants from both cities, as well as we had some participants from India and also from New Zealand over the time. And we had the same schedule where people chanted bhajans, meditated together for collective realizations. Then this was one of the biggest, I would say, offering from both of our circles. And we had one of the first global online Savitri Yagna organized by Sydney and Melbourne circles, where participants from and devotees from not only Australia, but all parts of the world, they collaborated together online over Zoom. and each devotee was given 15-minute time slots, and started from Pondicherry, from one of my friends from the society. They initiated, and then it went all over the globe. When it was midnight here, it was morning in the US. So we had organized the time slots in a way where people could contribute, and we didn't have any gaps. So all was good, and it ran successfully and concluded in the Sydney study circle. Yeah, this is just a small pic from the Sri Aurobindo Study Circle, who is kind of brothers and sisters with Melbourne Study Circle, who also participated in all our offerings together. As you can see on the left, this Pratap, so he's Dr. Rajiv Ratan, who is organizing satsangs at his place, and Pratap Amin from, he's also an ashramite, who has played bansuri and offered bansuri for the mother when he was small. And he usually plays bansuri as well as sings bhajans on our online satsangs. So we're glad to have him as part of both of our centers collaboration and circles collaboration. Yeah, I think I'm probably done. I've probably taken a bit more time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dvanil. In case anybody wants to say or ask anything, otherwise we move on to the next presentation.
Hello, Anuradha, this is Lakshman.
Yes, please.
I was very happy to hear about Norman and Pratap. Both of them were my childhood friends. Norman and I spent hours a day together. It was very nice to see and hear about the two of them. Hopefully I'll be able to connect with them.
Okay, thanks, Vanil. We'll move on to the next presentation, which is from Auroville, Conquer Land, Air, Water, Global, CLAW.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Major Arunambati from CLAW Global. I'll share my screen and can everyone see the presentation? Okay, cool. I'm Major Arunambati. I'm the director of CLAW Global. CLAW Global is basically Conquer Land, Air, Water, Global. On this Zoom call, the founder, Major Vivek Jacob, he is also online. I am the director, Major Arunambati. So I'll just play a video which gives a brief insight into who we are as a team. We are a team of ex-Special Forces soldiers from the Indian Armed Forces, the Special Forces Wing. Post-retirement, we wanted to basically apply our skills for the betterment of the society and in constructive processes, and how we synergize with this whole idea of Auroville and the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo are things that we will elucidate, and also our current activity profiles.
We can't hear the sound, Arun.
Can you hear me? You can't hear the sound, is it?
In the video, yes.
1 second. Okay, I'm so sorry. Can everyone hear it now? Can everyone hear the sounds now?
Yes, Arun, we can hear. Yeah.
So that was a brief video which was showing, giving a glimpse of who we are as a people. So as I mentioned earlier, we are people from the Special Forces of the Indian Armed Forces, basically Indian Army and Indian Navy. And we are Special Forces soldiers who hold very, very high specialization and skill sets in mastery over all terrains, land, air, and water. So that's the genesis of the name, Conquer Land, Air, Water. Eventually, that is the stepping stone for conquering yourself. So you can read a brief description of our vision and our guiding philosophy. So what we realized is that that creation is more powerful than destruction. So we are people who have transitioned from the destructive side of special forces. Special forces is the cutting edge of destruction. The team at various points has had experiences where we have had this realization that the process of creation is far more powerful and far more meaningful. So that is the transition, though we also understand our destructive potential and also the necessity thereof. This is our team. Each of these soldiers have been specialized in all three elements of land, air, water, primarily skydiving, scuba diving, and military mountaineering, all-terrain survival, and all of these skill sets. So we got together under Major Vivek Jacob. Major Vivek Jacob founded this in 2017, where he had a skydiving injury and he met a Air Force officer who was paralyzed, waist down, and he asked him, sir, you are a commando. आप तो scuba diving करते हो. Can I, a person like me, also scuba dive? He was on a wheelchair and paralyzed waist down. He made a promise that he'll one day take him scuba diving, but that instant gave him a certain realization that this military special forces skill sets have applications to change the lives of people, especially people with disabilities. We started seeing a synergy where our skill sets could be applied. So that is how the whole idea of Operation Blue Freedom was started, where we started a nationwide campaign where we started teaching people with disabilities scuba diving, because what we realized is that scuba diving is very, very therapeutic and changes the perception of not just people with disabilities, but the non-disabled people also. It was a conduit for us to impact the lives of people. So we launched something called as Operation Blue Freedom. This was basically a nationwide campaign to teach people with disabilities scuba diving. We did that free of cost. And eventually what happened is, in this journey, our vision kept expanding. We started conceptualizing institutional framework where the mindset that the Special Forces has and the skill set being applied for the betterment of the society. We started working on these institutions. That is what the culmination of our vision is called as the human ability biome. So the human ability biome is basically state-of-the-art enabling ecosystems for people with disabilities worldwide, offering full spectrum rehabilitation. What we mention as the full spectrum rehabilitation is basically rehabilitating them on the physiological plane and also on the psychic, psycho-spiritual, and also in taking care of their freedom through gainful employment. So that is what we call as the full spectrum rehabilitation. We realized that this was possible through teaching them life skills, putting them through specialized healing rehabilitation modules, and also educating them for subsequent gainful employment. While all of this is happening, researching the whole process. So we what we also realized that the problem that people with disabilities face is a full spectrum of problems. So it requires other domains specialization. So we formed something called as the Global Ability Network. We started connecting with experts from other fields of knowledge, from genetics to prosthetics, advanced prosthetic, artificial intelligence, robotics, so on and so forth. So that is what we did. But we had to demonstrate the efficacy of this concept. So as a proof of concept and also as a capability demonstration and executive potential of ourselves, we conceptualized the triple world record. That is what you see on the left side. Triple world record was a proof of concept for us, where we conceptualized 3 world records in the elements of land, air, water, where a team of people with disabilities and team of special forces soldiers come together and execute these 3 world records. So these 3 world records are in the element of land, in the element of water, and in the element of air through skydiving, mountaineering, and scuba diving. So this was significant because what we felt will have a deep impact on the mindset of people, and this was our way to impact the perception of people with disabilities and the non-disabled people towards people with disabilities. In fact, so we started with the water world record initially, but the government of India stepped up and there was direct intervention from the Prime Minister's office. And we got very, very extraordinary and special sanction to take a team of people with disabilities to Siachen Glacier. In September last year, we broke the first world record, that is created the first world record, the land world record. That is the world record for the largest team of people with disabilities to scale the world's highest battlefield, Siachen Glacier. Siachen Glacier, this is the photo that you see is a group photograph of the people with disabilities, our team, and also the support staff from the Indian Armed Forces. This was not possible without the personal intervention of the Prime Minister's office to give us this extraordinary permission. So this team of, we basically started out with a team of 20 people with disabilities. We trained them, put them through a series of training over 2 months. And then eventually 8 people with disabilities reached this Kumar post, which is at an altitude of almost 16,000 feet. These 8 people with disabilities are a mix of people with disabilities. 4 of them were blind, 3 of them were arm amputees, and 1 of them was a leg amputee. So now that the proof of concept is through the world records, what next is basically what we work on is basically that we need to conduct these trainings for people with the youth, the marginalized community, and the people with disabilities themselves. Okay, so text message. Yeah. So the human ability biome was the next natural logical step for us, which combines rehabilitation, reskilling, education, and research. So the rehabilitation part combines alternative healing practices and mainstream medical, existing medical practices. The reskilling includes life skills and employable skills. And education is basically, we wanted to create these ecosystems where people with disabilities can access high-end courses using online medium and tie up with various universities across the globe so that they can access these courses. So that's the human ability biome. So this is the overview of the human ability biome and the roadmap thereof. You can go through them. The human ability biome is the institutional setup and framework combining the aspects that I mentioned, primarily targeted at people with disabilities, but also extending it to the non-disabled people. So we decided to headquarter this in Auroville, primarily because what we saw is on a vision level, we saw a synergy where the evolution of the perception of human beings towards non-duality for us was important that it is achieved in the material plane. So, and that idea of harmonizing things on the material plane synergized quite well with the idea of Auroville. I had been working with the foresters of Auroville since 2018, so I was aware, and we saw, and our founder, Major Vivek Jacob, was also quite inspired by the ideals of Sri Aurobindo and ideals of Auroville. So we shifted one of our base, the aqua facility, the scuba dive, the aqua part of the human ability biome, to Auroville. So this is the human ability matrix where we plan to have these kind of facilities. Like I mentioned that we, as you can see on the map, that the aqua biome, we shifted it to Auroville. And then we are in the process of setting up our mountain biome in Uttarakhand. And eventually we are also tying up with those specialized domain experts in the fields that I mentioned, artificial intelligence, genetics, edtech companies, so on and so forth across the globe, and giving it to people with disabilities in a curated manner. So this is a photograph, aerial photograph of Quiet Healing Center in Auroville. We tied up with them, and this is where we conducted our courses in 2020. We came here in November 2020 in the midst of lockdown, when there was a gap between lockdown 1 and lockdown 2, when we had almost 6 batches, and eventually we went to the land field record, and we are back again here. We will be resuming these courses. So this is a snapshot of our the activities that we have conducted so far. So what we realize is that scuba diving for people with disabilities has deeply therapeutic impacts, you know, not just for skilling, but also for their own healing. We have had instances where people have regained mobility in their physical body, and we have had instances where people have regained partial movement in paralyzed limbs, so on and so forth. So this is something that we extensively do for people with disabilities. It frees up their own mind, and also when the non-disabled, we conduct joint training because we have seen the transformative potential of closely engaging and jointly training with people with disabilities on the non-disabled people, that it opens up their mind, frees up their spirit. And so that's what we call as the inclusive joint training. And it just changes something very, very deep in these people. So I'll just play a brief video about a profile of our activities here in Auroville in the past year and a half.
This is an exciting trip as we would be scuba diving. More so, scuba diving with an organization called CLAW Global. Now, who are CLAW?
CLAW is a team of ex-special forces wanting to apply their skill sets for the betterment of the society. And what we realize is that these are skill sets that we hold in very, very high degrees, and if applied in the creative space in the civil world, it has exponential application.
CLAW, which boldly stands for Conquer Land, Air, Water, was started by Major Vivek Jacobs, an ex-commander in our Indian Special Forces.
I was admitted in hospital with a skydiving injury. I had a neighbor who was sitting next to me. He had a spinal cord injury. He was waist down paralyzed. He had got injured during training, and he had been sitting for 4 years in the hospital. So when I met him, I got a glimpse of what life is like for people with disabilities, people with spinal cord injuries, people living their lives on wheelchairs. So we called it Operation Blue Freedom, this journey of sharing our skills with people with disabilities, specialized people coming together and sharing their, reaching a hand out and holding a hand of a person with disability. And it has captured us so much that we are throwing all our energy, everything that what we have got, we are throwing into this fire, and it's burning.
Our base for the night would be Quiet Healing Center in Auroville, a lovely resort offering a multitude of training facilities for CLAW. We would spend 3 days here, with each day consisting of a new activity in the program. Our first lesson was taught by ex-Special Force soldier Prabhash, who took us through the basics of our dive. This included an introduction to scuba gear, their workings, communication underwater, and other do's and don'ts. Next up was the quarry session. The quarry session is step 2, where participants are prepped in a controlled environment before making the dive at sea. This is an important step in the training process and also was the perfect place to watch CLAW in their tutorial element.
Myself, Dr. Deepa. I work as Associate Professor in Kodagu Institute of Medical College, and I also own my clinic. I'm an entrepreneur as well. I got the individual instructor. Mr. Prabhas was my first instructor. Yeah, he also made it really cool. And yesterday, Mr. Havaldar Adinarayan, yeah, he is really awesome. He made me feel so homely, and he made me very comfortable, and it was awesome.
Myself, Dr. Ajay Dhoni. I'm from Bangalore. I'm a dentist by profession. So as you can see, I'm an ebony amputee. So while I was doing my first year's masters, I met with a road traffic accident and I lost my right leg ebony.
It was finally time for sea. We would dive about 4 kilometers out in the ocean at a man-made reef. The thing to notice is how comfortable participants were in trusting their instructors, which goes to show the success of CLAW Global's initiative.
Breathing underwater, I never even, thought of it. Like breathing under, that experience was amazing. My instructor just told me one thing: keep calm and dive. He took me all down till 18 meters. I was standing on the floor of the ocean. That's an amazing experience.
I have post-polio residual paralysis, disability of my lower limbs. Generally, we have this mentality whether we can do it or not. So, CLAW is taking a very good initiative. In fact, by doing something like this, so we'll get to know our potential.
CLAW Global's work is full of pros without the cons. Not only have they offered an almost second life to amputees and paraplegics, but also a calmer and happier life to look forward to for many of their armed service brethren. And that can only simply be described as true success. And more of that to you, Claw Global. You sure deserve it.
So that was overview of the courses that we conduct over here. So we signed up for the Multiversity project when we heard about it, and basically the whole idea of giving recognition. Auroville is a cluster of various workshops, people doing a lot of exciting things, and so it was a very good idea that that the Prime Minister's office himself is spearheading. So these are the courses that we offer at our aqua biome at Auroville. This is scuba-based rehabilitation, natural ecosystem immersion and regeneration. That is also that we have a synergy with with the foresters of Auroville in the whole recreation of the ecosystems, healing ecosystems. You know, the element of nature and healing ecosystems, and then of course our own military skill sets, sharing of the civil applications of them. Basically, all terrain survival, emergency first response. These are skill sets that we observed is that unlocks the mind and changes the perception of people. There are other courses that are in pipeline. Yeah. We are also in, like I mentioned earlier, in the process of setting up our mountain biome in Uttarakhand. There we will be offering extreme high altitude mountaineering, extreme all-terrain survival, and endurance and skills related courses. The primary focus of being on the adventure sports and the military special forces skill sets was primarily to apply our skill sets. But eventually what we realize is these skill sets have the potential to unlock the mindset of people and shift their perception. You know, so that's why we so focused on this. And these are the various spectrum of social impact that we have so far achieved and are in the process of continuously achieving in our journey. And these are the various media coverages. We've been widely covered across the press in India and abroad. We've been covered by Kon Banega Crorepati. We've been ministers have participated in our programs. We've been featured in various startup platforms. We've been and this is a slice of our achievements. We've been featured on the Asian Diving Expo. We've been featured in we're tied up with War Wounded Foundation. We've been featured in Thai Summit, and we were also appreciated by the Prime Minister himself for our first world record on the land world record. Play a brief clip, which will also give you a glimpse of our activities in the mountains.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, सियाचिन ग्लेशियर के बारे में हम सभी जानते हैं। वहाँ की ठंड ऐसी भयानक है जिसमें रहना आम इंसान के बस की बात ही नहीं है। दूर दूर तक बर्फ ही बर्फ, और पेड़ पौधों का तो नामो निशान नहीं है। यहाँ का तापमान -60 डिग्री तक भी जाता है। कुछ ही दिन पहले सियाचिन के इस दुर्गम इलाके में 8 दिव्यांग जनों की टीम ने जो कमाल कर दिखाया है, वो हर देशवासी के लिए गर्व की बात है। इस टीम ने सियाचिन ग्लेशियर की 15,000 फीट से भी ज्यादा की ऊंचाई पर स्थित कुमार पोस्ट पर अपना परचम लहराकर वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड बना दिया है। शरीर की चुनौतियों के बावजूद भी हमारे इन दिव्यांगों ने जो कारनामा कर दिखाया है, वो पूरे देश के लिए प्रेरणा है। और जब इस टीम के सदस्यों के बारे में जानेंगे तो आप भी मेरी तरह हिम्मत और हौसले से भर जाएंगे। इन जाबाज दिव्यांगों के नाम है फतेह करने का ये ऑपरेशन भारतीय सेना के विशेष बलों के वेटरन्स की वजह से सफल हुआ है। मैं इस ऐतिहासिक और अभूतपूर्व उपलब्धि के लिए इस टीम की सराहना करता हूं। यह
So yeah, I just got a message that we've overshot the time. Apologies for that. So I'll yeah. So that was a brief overview of our idea and our activities. I will quickly, do we have time for questions? Maybe people can reach out. Our email is there on the mailing list. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good because we need to, as there are different time zones, we need to keep to the time. It is most interesting, but if you can share your email in the chat box, I would encourage people to write to you directly. And now we would like to move on to the next presentation.
No questions?
You ask quickly.
Can I not ask a question?
Go ahead.
I have been leading a lot of high altitude treks over 40 years now. And we have a place in Nainital, away from the hustle and bustle of the town. On top of a hill, we have 9 acres of land with 200 beds.
Okay, sir.
And we would like it, since you are working with Auroville and all, we would also like to get associated.
Sure, sir.
We can provide you place. We are doing rock climbing courses and youth camps. I think just now 350 youth camps have already been completed over the years. And in that we make them do rock climbing, trekking, and all this kind of things we have. So we are doing a lot of adventure programs, and we have 2 places in the Uttaranchal. One is at Nainital called Vannivas. It is near the Kaladhungi Road. And the other is Madhuban in Talla Ramgarh, not far from Bhimtal. So if you are now in Bhimtal or coming or anything going on, do visit us.
Definitely, sir. Major Vivek Jacob is he's the founder. He's also listening. Sir, Jacob, sir.
I'll just take it on. Sir, we are in the process. We are actually, we started out from scratch. So we didn't have any money or anything like that when we started out, and so we are developing slowly where we are. And to come to the point, we are looking at this land in Bhimtal in Chafi. If you've heard of it, we were trying to hire it up. So, I'll discuss with this with you separately, sir.
I have shared.
Are you in Uttarakhand just now?
Sir, I've just come back from Bhimtal actually.
Okay.
Are you the person, sir, who's actually who's the caretaker of the International Rock Climbing Club there?
No, we have no international rock climbing club, but we do for children. We do many programs for the economically weaker section, poor children from villages all over the country. Like we are getting now almost 100 children from an orphanage in Hyderabad at the end of this month. So we have many programs of this kind, but not for the, we have done in the past for the blind rock climbing, for the deaf and dumb, we have done for mentally retarded, we have done several. But as of now, we are not doing, after the COVID, everything has been a little difficult.
Taradi, can you please discuss this with them separately? I have to move on. Otherwise, it's not fair to the other presenters.
Go ahead.
I have shared the mail IDs.
I'll just like to actually I'll just take 30 seconds on this. So as Major Arun has introduced us and the reason why we are doing things and all, yes, I'll just add to that. So we started out, when I met that person who was on a wheelchair, the Air Force officer, it started out with wanting to help him. But then, I got down and started researching the numbers, and I saw about 1.8 billion people with disabilities across the globe. And so we traveled across the country and, trained more than 120 people who were paralyzed in diving, etc. So during that journey, when we were traveling, the concept of non-duality started growing in my mind. I've always sought freedom. I've always sought freedom to its core. And that is why, in a way, I went to the special forces to look beyond death. So when I came back from there and I realized that creation is far, far, far more interesting and far more powerful than destroying something. And then we realized that, there's an application of a skill set. Now, when we evolved during this process of, helping people out, or whichever way you want to pull it, we were actually just doing something that our heart desired. It was my personal desire to do this. And when the team joined in, they also aligned with that desire, and we kind of welded together. Now, in this entire journey, when we traveled across and came back, where we started, I realized that this cannot be a fly by night operation, because we saw so many people healing. So we realized that this system has to be institutionalized, and there has to be an entire cumulative framework. And if what I realized is, if we research into disability, if we research into what is it that limits human potential, and people with disabilities being the field, and not only at the physical level, but actually all of us who are not already living at full potential are in some way or the other disabled, be it physically or be it at a perception level itself. So we realized, okay, we have to work in two aspects. One is the gross framework of the world, and one is the subtle framework of the world. So in the gross framework, we decided that, okay, we have to create these human ability biomes. In that process, I met a lot of people, and there was not much traction. It seemed like impossible, for them and things like that. So I decided that best help is self-help, and I decided to create an event kind of like a black hole that sucks in energy and creates the universe in the form that we want to witness it in, right? And that's full potential, full evolution, full experience of freedom for everyone. So in that process, we conceptualized 3 world records in land, air, and water by a team of people with disabilities coming from across the world, across race, culture, class, religion, nationality, economic status, or ability, being trained by former destructive forces, the special forces and military veterans and specialized civilians coming together to train them to achieve independence in air through skydiving independently, independence in water by scuba diving independently, and independence on land by climbing mountains independently. So we realized, when the world watches this, it will change the perception towards our own ability. So, and in that process, we will also be able to aggregate resources that are required in terms of networks, in terms of financial capital, in terms of whatever it is required to be able to place the human ability biomes on the ground. So it is a personal journey as well as a collective journey for us. We are the aim being evolution. We want to evolve. That's it. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that sharing. It's quite amazing what you are doing, and it would be lovely to know more about it. We move on now to the third presentation from Sri Aurobindo Center of Los Angeles, USA. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Anuradha. And this is Vikas Bamba from Sri Aurobindo Center of Los Angeles. And thank you for including us as part of this large network. As a side note, I should say we are quite awed by the earlier presentation. Vivekji and Arunji, thank you for your service to the country. And it was very nice. So Janani Shankar will share a video with us to give you a glimpse of our center and its activities.
Hello all. It gives us deep joy to share with you our center, the source and life of our living collective, our inspiration, joy, and support. Its heart enshrines the relics of Sri Aurobindo. The divine smiles flow through the garden, library, bedrooms, and kitchen. I welcome you all to come join us for the tour of Sri Aurobindo Center of Los Angeles.
The Sri Aurobindo Center of Los Angeles was founded by Jyoti Priya in 1953, a direct disciple of the mother and Sri Aurobindo. Jyoti, name given by Sri Aurobindo, was graced by the mother with the realization of the divine. So what is the guiding principle of our activities? The mother was once asked by a group of disciples to give her permission and blessings for opening a center. She gave in answer 3 mantras. First, it should be the heart of a perfect sincerity consecrated to the divine. Second, all activities must proceed and have as their basis a growing love for the mother. Third, our body should also participate, and work is the body's best prayer to the divine. All this is encapsulated in the cardinal mantra. It is to become conscious of the presence of the mother. A center grows and can grow perfectly only around the mother's presence and consciousness. A group center has to organize itself in perfect harmony around the central reality of the mother. So it is this triple mantra that is the guiding principle and our sustaining force. The center has 3 bedrooms and can house 3 to 4 people for long and short-term stays, and residents who aspire to participate in an atmosphere of a collectivity dedicated to inner growth. We enshrine the sacred relics of Sri Aurobindo. We maintain a concentrated atmosphere and yet an immense freedom for the full and utmost development and expression of one's aspiration. This is done through a free participation in our diverse activities, which span from poetry to plumbing, singing, writing, computer work, gardening, design and aesthetics, cleaning, and various tasks related to the maintenance and administration of the center. One paces oneself according to one's capacity and inspiration. We celebrate all the darshans and important dates as observed in the ashram. There is also a monthly newsletter Quest that focuses on a subject and shares their writings on it. You can email us if you would like to be on the mailing list. There are podcasts that we put out of their works. We hold retreats which are a collective concentrated reflection and practice of inner life. Some of them are significance of flowers, the importance of the body. And yes, children are very much part of our center and participate in all our darshan celebrations. On New Year's Day, we have a program wholly offered by the children. Finally, to remind and reinforce the triple mantra given by the mother, we gather 3 times a week in a collective sadhana which includes concentration, audios and videos. Thursday evenings are dedicated to Savitri, Saturdays to the book The Mother, and Tuesdays are given to sharing insights and internal reflections on various themes. All the meetings have a singular purpose. It is to foster the flame of aspiration for the divine and remind us of the great opportunity given us. All are eagerly invited to join. We always look forward to hosting the children of the mother.
Thank you for watching. As a side note, we like to mention that the physical is something that we quite emphasize on in our satsangs, in our meetings, and in our gatherings, get-togethers. And interestingly, in the last presentation, we were shown that there's the lines between ability and disabilities is really getting blurred, as has been revealed by our two great nationalists and in the service of the country, Claw. So coming back to our center, so really it is a collective spirit at its core that manifests itself in a joyful sharing and offering. And all our activities are really a collaborative effort, a happy participation of devotees coming together, working together. We feel we are in an age of collective collaboration, of sharing. So this sharing makes for an interesting learning and sharing of skills, an opportunity for both an inner and outer growth. Something very interesting here is that the person doesn't have to wait for the work waits for the right person. Finally, in our gatherings, the central idea behind the central motivation is always a reminder to all of us of her words, why we are here. And I'd like to read quickly what she said. The mother said, "You know, my child, from the beginning of the world, the Supreme had only one purpose: to use all energies for one single aim, that each one may find his soul." And then she goes on to add, "If you could have taken a small decision to feel your psychic, I wouldn't have wasted my time." And so this is always behind as a reminder to all of us, the force, the inspiration impelling all our activities. We are here to make this interesting discovery. There is a divine in each of us. And the mother went on to add that there is no special or no better time on earth to be than now, because there is a special substance that is here. And she talks about the supramental substance. And she says, and I quote, "The new substance that is spreading and acting in the world contains a warmth, a power, a joy so intense that all intellectual activity seems cold and dry beside it. And that is why the less one talks about these things, the better it is. A single instant, a single impulse of deep and true love, a single minute of deep communion with the divine grace brings you much closer to the goal than all possible explanations." Thank you and namaste. And we invite all of you, if you're in this part of the continent, to visit us and give us the pleasure of hosting you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If there are any reflections or questions, quick questions, please go ahead.
Anuradha, this is Lakshman. I just wanted to clarify that the 3 times a week sessions that we have, it is done on Zoom as well as in person. So anybody who wants to attend can attend via Zoom. We have people from other parts of the United States that join us on these 3 days that Vikas mentioned.
Thank you.
And India, we have people joining from India too. So, well, sometimes.
Okay, now I would invite Sri Aurobindo Society, Karnataka, to make their presentation.
Yeah, good evening, one and all, once again, and thank you for the opportunity given to share on this platform some information about our branch. What I'm presenting to you is Sri Aurobindo Complex, located in JP Nagar, Bangalore. We have 2 major branches or relic centers in Bangalore. One complex at JP Nagar, and then the other one is Sri Aurobindo Bhavan at Alsur. Both are in Bangalore. I'm touching upon this because this is the headquarters of Sri Aurobindo Society, Karnataka. That's why what I would like to present you is the activities at Sri Aurobindo Complex, which is also the headquarters of Karnataka. So all there are 29 branches and centers together in Karnataka, and I take care of the entire Karnataka state. So my name is Ajit Sabnis. Professionally, I'm specialized in global warming and climate change. I represented India in one of the subcommittees of United Nations as far as sustainability development goals are concerned. But since last about 6 years, I've completely dedicated myself to the cause of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. So I would, what we would like to talk about today is about Sri Aurobindo complex, JP Nagar. What you see here on the screen is just an idea to give you. This is the Karnataka map, and then this is where we have spread about the various branches and then centers. And Sri Aurobindo complex, this particular thing holds quite a few different characters. One is, it is the state, it holds the Sri Aurobindo Society Karnataka State Committee, which is its headquarters. And it also is Sri Aurobindo Society Karnataka, and this school, which is the Vedanta School for New Age, which is CBSE affiliated with about 950 children. And it is also State Teachers Training Center. And as I said, there are totally branches and then centers together. We have 32 in number. So on the right-hand side corner, what you see is actually the logo of Sri Aurobindo Complex Trust. Yes, I'm just taking you with some pictures. This is the main entry to the entire complex, which is about in area about 2 acres, close to 2 acres. The land was allotted to us in 1985, and actually then by the time we got it to our hand and then the construction started, it was actually around 1990s. And what we see the progress is between the last 3 and odd decades. And we got the relics into the Bhavan somewhere in 2000. So this is the main entry as we go. And this is the main station hall. From what you see from the ground to the tip of the globe, it's about 88 feet, about 9-story building height. The whole complex is. This is the heart of the complex, Sri Aurobindo complex, which is Sri Aurobindo Meditation Hall. In the ground floor, we have the cultural hall, which holds about 250 to 300 people. And this is the all activities where this is buzzing with activities from morning 5 o'clock till evening 8:30. This is the hall where all the yogasana classes for different batches happen, discourses happen, meditation classes happen. This is a very dynamic exhibitions that happen, that keep changing, and all these things are done, specially done. This you can just see the glimpses of the exhibition. Every second week, we change this exhibition. So we almost have about more than 2,000 to 3,000 exhibits now on about 70 different topics, and each topic is absolutely forms within about with about 40 to 45 slides. So, and this is an interesting thing. If you are noticing the top of the ceiling of this cultural hall, this is the part of the ground floor of the meditation hall. Without the structural engineer who designed this, never visited Sri Aurobindo ashram, never knew about Sri Aurobindo. But when the design came, this was exactly Sri Aurobindo's perfect Sri Aurobindo symbol, which came onto the ceiling. So that was a sanction for us from the master himself. So that is how a lot of activities happen. This is the cultural hall. And when we go upstairs on the first floor of the meditation hall, what I told you, and this meditation center, which holds about 500 to 600 people, seating, slightly closed seating. And this is the relics samadhi, what we have, what you can see. And this is open for public from morning 5 o'clock till evening 7:30 to 8 p.m. So this is the meditation hall, and absolutely serene. And we have the whole complex has 4 gates, and all the 4th gate on the north side, which is open to a complete playground, which is so I'll touch upon 3 other sides. So all the 3 sides, 3 are different approaches to a central courtyard. So this is the south approach from this thing. This is the eastern approach. This is one of the centers in the heart of Bangalore, where all around us with a lot of activities that are happening, very rush. And then in between this, when anybody comes into the campus, you can certainly feel the difference between the outside temperature, inside temperature. Not only that, one who is sensitive, they can definitely feel the vibes and one's presence. So this is actually the way to the school, central schoolyard, courtyard of the school. And what you're seeing partly is the school building. And this actually is the central courtyard, which gives you a side of, this is the back side of the meditation hall, what I showed you. And on the left-hand side, what you see is a guest house, which actually extends. We have about 9 rooms dedicated to this thing. And out of other 20 rooms are actually taking space as a part of the school space. This is it is not just what you see. And this is the part of the courtyard where on the right hand side we have an open air theater, and then in this end court is so big that approximately about 1,200 chairs can be easily accommodated. So whenever we have a major functions, we have it here. So this is just one of the functions of the school, just to indicate the school and the courtyard and the stage utilization. It's one of the favorite spots of all the children. This is how the whole greenery takes place. And one of our major important things was due on Silver Jubilee function of the school. Dr. Abdul Kalam was there with the school, and he nearly spent about 4.5 hours in the school. Actually, his allotted time for us was about 1.5 hours. He spent 3 hours extra discussing several other aspects of it, giving us the guidelines, and especially was so much interested about the integral education, knowing about the integral education and other things. So we, in both times, also I mentioned it earlier, and at Jayanagar, we have schools. Now we are coming out with another school, which is about 15 kilometers away from the existing school. That is going to be a K-12 school. This is going to be called a Auroville school. And it will have 3 basic functions. One will be the regular school affiliated to CBSE. It's going to be a National Teachers Training Academy, and it is also going to be a research in education. We are trying to sign an MOU with one of the leading government institutions as far as the child psychology is concerned, and then the child development, and then the area in which we would like to take forward integral education and the research as applied to the education, everything in the light of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. Now, so these are just the pictures, and then some of the, apart from all the significant day celebrations and observations which happen, the entire campus is bursting with activity and from morning to night. We have significant day celebrations and observations, and in addition to that, Swadhyaya study circle happens 4 days in a week. And we have created several digital media platforms where the regular courses, apart from the Swadhyaya and study circle, we have regular our digital media courses that are happening on daily basis, where about 100 to 120 participations on digital media are there. This varies from Savitri to Life Divine to Human Cycle to The Secret of the Vedas and several other things. And we have Yogasana classes, 3 batches every day from morning to evening. Then meditation classes once in a week. We have regular workshops and seminars, youth camps, cultural activities. We also have rural activities. These are the activities at Sri Aurobindo complex at the state headquarters. And some of the activities, what we are talking, are happening at different centers and branches, but they're in part. So we have rural development, which our Sri Aurobindo Society school in a village called Elavati is taking forward. And then we are converting that entire village. We have taken it as a model village, developing it a model village. And we have taken up recently a Oro Center for Public Nutrition program. So self-help group. We are in touch with this. So the women folk of the entire rural development, they are brought to the school. They are being taught how they are happening there. And we have exhibitions, which I've already talked about it, discourses and talks. We have taken every week, to attract the people from the neighborhood. Every Saturday in the evening, not necessarily about Sri Aurobindo and the mother's philosophy only, but that everything encompasses, everything comes under the Indian culture. So that it could be a talk on Mahabharata, it could be a talk of, Kalidasa, discourses on everything it encompasses. Then we also publish books in the local language, that is in Kannada. So far, in the last 20 years, we have done about 33 books. We have taken up the translation of entire the 36 volumes, collected works of Sri Aurobindo into Kannada. So that we have given up ourselves a time of about 10 to 12 years, and that we have begun as our contribution, as a homage to Sri Aurobindo in his 150th birth anniversary. Then publication of Akhila Bharata Patrike and integral education books, teacher trainings which are aligning with national education policy. I represent Sri Aurobindo Society in the implementation of national education policy in Karnataka. Also in framing of the syllabus for the early childhood care education part of it, which the new school I've already talked about. And then we are playing a major role in national implementation, national education, and also in teachers training in Karnataka in the local languages. These are the activities essentially, and these are the facilities which we have in that small area. A meditation hall with about 500 to 600 closely fitted, cultural exhibition hall, which I talked about, audiovisual hall, we have a separate which can hold about 100 people, guest houses, which is Matruchaya, library, which is open to public, dormitory, we have about 75 people are coming. Then Ashram products and booklets, we have an open air theater, which is called Miracle Food for New Age, and the Oro School, which we all talked about. So this is in a nutshell what I would like to present as far as Sri Aurobindo complex is concerned. A few words about among all the other centers and branches, we have at a lesser, at a scale slightly not at this scale, but at probably at their comfort level, they're all happening. And we have reached a membership of about 1,600 in Karnataka. So that is it. And these are the link if someone would like to get associated with us. And then these are the two websites. The top one is the school website, and the bottom one is the Sri Aurobindo Complex website. And my email ID is also there at the board displayed here. So those who we welcome everybody, and those who come to visit to Bangalore, please visit us. Please get in touch with me so that it will be a great pleasure to receive you. And thank you very much. And if a special pranams to Tara Didi. I have very sweet memories with her. Though I have not met her for a long time, I remember my childhood days spending time with her. So thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity. Open for question and answers.
Ajit, you should come and visit us also.
Ha, Tara Didi, sure. I've been wanting to do that. I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation.
Thank you so much.
Anything to ask Ajit Bhai? Okay, so we move on to the next one, which is from Ma Sri Aurobindo Sadhana Kendra, Rajkot, Gujarat.
Jai Shri Ma, this is Shyam Bhai from Ma Sri Aurobindo Sadhana Kendra, Rajkot. Can I share my presentation?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
We implore the blessings and the presence of the Mother and Lord Sri Aurobindo. Om Anandamayi Chaitanyamayi Satyamayi Parame. Om, see the delight, see the consciousness, see the truth, see the Supreme. Ma Sri Aurobindo Sadhana Kendra, Rajkot, Gujarat, India. Ma Sri Aurobindo Sadhana Kendra, name given by Champaklal ji. When Champaklal ji visited Rajkot city in 1984, he visited Bhupendra Bhai Trivedi's personal puja and residence. When he saw the puja and the atmosphere around, he immediately realized that this cannot be a personal one. So he declared that thing as the center for the disciples and sadhaks of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, and gave name Ma Sri Aurobindo Sadhana Kendra. He has written the message. First I read it in Gujarati. Mataji Sri Aurobindo na Asirvad Sathe Subh Sumangar Dine 6784 Champakalal. What he wrote in the diary in the previous picture, with the blessings of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, on this auspicious and harmonious day, 6th July 84, Champakalal. That was the beginning of the Rajkot Center. A blessings by Champakalal ji and the name Ma Sri Aurobindo Sadhana Kendra. The name itself contains both words, Ma and Sri Aurobindo, with the words sadhana. So it is a blessing. That is what we feel at the center. This is the center building at the present premises, somewhere in 1991. That was only one building, Arpan, Ma Sri Aurobindo Sadhana Kendra, as can be seen in the picture. But with the blessings of the mother and Sri Aurobindo, in 1992, the first floor was constructed with meditation hall and a special room dedicated to Champakalji. And with the enormous blessings of the mother, the center could acquire the adjoining two buildings, right and left, in 1996 and 2000. In 2000, that was the 29th of February day, when the document was registered. This is a main building at the present ending of Rajkot city. There's some artistic work around, some drawing, and the mother's quotation: soar ever higher, ever farther, without fear or hesitation. The hopes of today are the realizations of tomorrow. It is written in Gujarati there. This is from the mothers. The center is blessed with the relics also. In 1993, the 6th of July, the anniversary day of center, relics were installed. And there were 3 days celebrations. Here you can see Bhupendra Bhai, whose puja was declared at center, is with relics at the ashram premises. So these are the relics that were in July 1993, when it was brought to Rajkot, and this car from Chennai to Rajkot. Then relics arrived in Rajkot. The celebrations were for 3 days, and participations from all across Gujarat centers, and many sadhakas took participation. Amba Premiji and Anirudh Smart were also present, and there were talks from them also. This is the relics installation photo at the puja, the center meditation hall. And the adjoining photo is from the celebrations where there were 300 plus people participated during the celebrations. It was the 6th of July, a double blessing, anniversary day and a relics installation. This is the center approach, a staircase to the meditation hall. Here is a small video. This is altar puja, decorated on some special day. These are the photos in the meditation hall. On darshan days or some special days or occasion, decorations and designs are also done with diyas and flowers. This is with Sri Aurobindo's symbol. Here it is mother's signature and blessings. Here it is on some special day, Siddhi day. This is a collective meditation in one of the Diwali's days with the mother's symbol, with diyas. This is our altar puja. We have dedicated one room for Champakalji also. This is Champakalji's room's photographs. This is the second one. In the meditation hall, we have mother's dress, an item used by the mother that is kept there in the meditation hall itself. We are blessed with the Sri Aurobindo's bed sheet also that is kept there near the altar. Their activities of publication. Kendra, Rajkot Center, has been publishing a monthly magazine in Gujarati since 1189. These are the first 3 issues, cover pages, a very initial stage. When sadhakas were there for a collective discussion, and some satsang was there, so they decided, inspired by the MP Pandit's service letter, to bring out a monthly magazine. So that is how Sat Satsang, a magazine in Gujarati, started. These are the cover pages of first 3 issues. And this is the latest one. It has undergone many changes. The block number 258 is dedicated to publication activity, where books are kept for selling and distribution, and such publications. Here are the few books that have been published by the center. Center has so far published more than 150 books in Gujarati, with the original quotations of Sri Aurobindo and the mother's works. These are the few books. This is the office entrance that is in the main building at the ground floor. This is a small office at the ground floor. Apart from this, the premises has many gardens like plants and trees, etc. So here are a few pictures of those greenery. This is an approach to the meditation hall. Block number 260, the adjoining block, is mainly for rest room. We do not have a permanent stay facility or a guest house like facility, but one can relax during the programs or celebrations. This is the greenery. Another activity is on Thursday and Sunday. There's a collective meditation and talks, and the various people from city of Rajkot participate. We have a projector presentation also in the center. So these are the people on some special day. We also invite speakers from all other centers. Some of the guest speakers are there at the Rajkot Center. This is our contact detail. I thank you all. And this is dedicated to the lotus feet of the mother and Sri Aurobindo. Thank you all. I hope you have enjoyed a virtual trip to our Rajkot Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Any questions or reflections for Shyam Bhai? Okay. So thank you, everybody. And we will meet again on 17 June with more presentations. Thank you so much and good night and good day.